This presentation is going to be on parenthood and children. It is going to present factors to consider when deciding to parent, how trends in parenthood have changed, and the advantages and challenges to parenting in the 21st century. So let's get started. When deciding when to parent, there are multiple factors to take into consideration. The first has to do with the social pressure to have children. This pressure can stem from society's expectations, family, partners, etc. There is also a culture phenomenon named pronatalist bias. Pronatalist bias. This is the idea where having kids is the normal or correct thing to do, where choosing not to requires an explanation. This phenomenon can alter fertility decisions because of the social pressure. Another factor to consider is that having a child broadens a parent's role in the world. This means taking on more responsibility in terms of nurturing, giving or showing love to your child, advocating, supporting your child through everything, becoming an authority figure. You're going to become their boss or role model. Becoming their counselor, meaning listening to all their problems and emotional distress they might be in, and caregiving, making sure that your child is all right at all costs is a big factor to consider. The next factor has to do with couple conflict and strain. These are common when having children because it brings on more stress. The conflict can arise from second shift lifestyle, meaning women adhering to more responsibility than men, young parents not fully grasping commitment, day-to-day stressors like work, schooling, disagreements, etc., single parents having more on their sleeves, or cohabitors not having stability in that situation. Another factor is child spacing. One should consider this because it is trying to find an optimal age to where the number of desired children are spaced out before time or fertility gets in the way. And then the optimal is 3 years of waiting. The last on this slide is non-marital births. This should also be taken into consideration when deciding to parent because this is the decision of parenthood without marriage, which can be difficult due to raising a child alone with minimal or no financial, social, or emotional support. There are plenty more factors to consider when deciding to parent, but the last two in this presentation have to do with early and late parenthood. These are to be considered because early parenthood can come with benefits such as greater certainty of being physically able to have children, greater freedom to pursue other activities after children are raised, such as traveling, and the greater chance of having more time with grand or great-grandchildren yourself. On the other hand, late parenthood comes with having longer time for personal development, meaning building up your career and financial stability to raise a child. You also have greater maturity prep for parenthood because you've been through life experiences. But the downside to late parenthood is that it can also have the effects of fertility problems, which have high rates with older moms. Now that we've looked at factors to consider when deciding whether or not to parent, let's look at how trends in parenthood have changed. There are many ways in which parenthood has changed, and here are some examples how. First, rates in fertility and marriage have decreased, meaning more women are having trouble trying to conceive, and marriage has been less of a traditional occurrence. Rates of divorce and numbers of single-parent households have also increased, meaning less stability with marriage commitment and more people becoming divorced and single. Same-sex marriage has also increased in the recent decade, breaking stigmas of the past. Family forms and living arrangements have diversified, meaning it's common for the increase in divorce, single, and same-sex families/parents in today's society than back then. Family stability has also decreased, meaning families are not as close or are struggling to find that family unity or connection they wish for. Also, more women work now more than in the past. Why? Because of our fast-paced society, which means that more income and resources are crucial for survival of the parent, child, and family together. Lastly, many families feel more disconnected to their neighborhood/community because modern society is focused on oneself and not worried about the people around them. Now that we've covered how trends in parenthood have changed, let's move on to the advantages of parenting in the 21st century. An advantage to parenting in the 21st century would include how parents now have more education. They have likely been exposed to formal knowledge about child development and child raising. For example, having exposure to close friends, family, schooling, etc. There's also more support when it comes to parenting nowadays. There's financial support like state, family, career, etc. There's also technology support where you can seek and engage support through online information where it can help or answer any questions parents may have or circumstances they come across. In general, there is just more help than before. There are more benefits to parenting in the 21st century because there is a plethora of resources to seek help and derive answers from. Now that we've mentioned the advantages of parenting in the 21st century, here are some of the challenges. To look at some of the challenges, let's start with childhood bonding. This is a challenge because nowadays there's less one-on-one time when considering all life's factors. A lot of people are busier, which is a challenge to parenting because it can form a weaker relationship with the child. Outside factors like career can deter away from engaging in kids' personal feelings and can make the relationship fade away. Parenting styles is also a challenge to parenting because first-time parents, or in general, they cannot be perfect, and adhering to a particular parenting style will set the boundary to the child's life ahead. It is a challenge of pressure to be the best parent. Also, maintaining the 5 A's and C's like depicted in the graphs are all factors that should be embedded in parenting but are challenging to constantly remember. Of course, there are more challenges, but the last one to be discussed is family atmosphere. This is a challenge to parenting nowadays because the environment we grow up in sets the way we view/live life. Maintaining love, laughter, fun, support, etc. are all easy to say, but these are all things we work towards, which can be difficult to maintain. Also, trying to set good examples can be a challenge to parenting because children learn from experience and observation, and that revolves around the parent's willingness to strive for the best for their child. All in all, this presentation was on parenthood and children, and I hope that you were clearly informed. It presented the factors to consider when deciding to parent or whether or not you want to or not, how trends in parenthood have changed, and the advantages and challenges to parenting in the 21st century. Thank you.